Welcome back to the Mountain Witch Tarot channel. I am your host, Sarah, and today we are taking a look at Pam Bondi's future in politics. If you enjoy political divination and these types of readings, go ahead and hit that like button. If you have anyone you want me to cover in an upcoming video, drop it in the comments. Before we get to the tableau, though, we're going to start with a couple of short 5-card spreads for Pam. So let's go ahead and start off with just a general energy check on Pam Bondi. The focus card feels like the first chapter of a new beginning for Pam. She has a sordid professional past that she has closed the door on. It feels like scattered enemies. Maybe there are a lot of scattered enemies behind her. At the same time, I think this could mean she's kind of a pro at keeping a poker face, hiding emotions, all while keeping her eyes on her goal. I think she's probably ruthless. She knows how to manipulate a situation in her favor. She's not an easy enemy to have, you know what I mean? Her journey, though, so far has been a brief one, but lucky, and she's very much focused on the financial accumulation side of things and building herself up, as in building a resume, accumulating credentials. Okay, let's do one more quick spread for Pam Bondi, and this will be focused on how does she leave politics, or how does her career end? I get that we'll see Pam announce her own exit from her current position. I kind of get the feeling that she's one of those people who is always in control or has to be in control of a narrative. A lot of control feelings. And also with the Clover here, I think she'll do this in her own time, and it will be after she's accomplished the goal that she had in mind all along. The Ship card, I think, could indicate kind of a slow, steady journey relating to wealth. So I don't think that she'll go anywhere anytime soon. I don't think that this is going to happen like in the next couple of months or anything. But when she does go, I think she'll maintain her secrecy, because there's just a really big secrecy feeling around her cards. She seems like, she's just like really secretive person. It's kind of intense. From the perspective, though, of the public, I think we're all going to be looking at her exit, scratching our heads and saying, how did she get this lucky? Like, how does she walk away unscathed from this situation? Because there are already ethics issues happening right now. So anyway, I think it's going to be a bit of a shock. But when she finds a stable place to drop her anchor, that's when she'll go. But it'll be on her own terms for sure. It looks to me like this tableau is going to tell us a story about Pam being conflicted. Okay, that's what I'm getting in my initial impression. Heart, Tower, Crossroads book. She's torn between keeping secrets and keeping her job. If you look at the 4 corners, she's also got the snake, the mountain, and the stars, and of course her. So she's very much at the center of that part of the theme. So she's got, with mountain and stars, there's like guidance or enemy activity. You know what I mean? And then with the snake factored into this as well, this is like 2 conflicting ideas, where we have the stars, which is like a positive card on one hand, and then the snake and the mountain, which kind of speaks to the idea of an enemy in the way. On the flip side, here's another combination that we could get from this, and we'll have to kind of decode this as we go. But so if we have an enemy in the way, then we could also say that with the stars that there's multiple enemies scattered throughout whatever in the way. We'll see as we go. But based on these 4 cards, I feel like she's really torn between her heart and her career. And I feel like she is keeping a lot of things on the down low, but really she is kind of also wondering, do I have another option at this point? Like, should I stay or should I go? That's kind of what this feels like. If you look at her fate line, here we have the White House, the scythe, the mice, and the anchor. What does that tell us? Well, that also tells us that she's wondering if she'll be removed, if her reputation will be eroded, or if she should stay put. There is a lot of conflict inside of this woman based on what we're seeing in this reading here. All right, let's take a look at her very near cards. So because she's up in the corner, we don't have too many very near cards, but we have a representation for finances and public something. Being part of a public forum, being in the public eye, most likely. We have the tree, which I think here we're probably, the context is most likely to do with long-term or slow growth or something like that. Then in her near cards, she has Donald Trump himself. Trump himself in her near cards. Imagine that. And we also have stork, letter, sun, and bear. I feel like right here, one of the things that she is probably tasked with because of him is protecting the exposure of communications. Now, the letter can be anything from text messages to legal documents to super duper secure signal chats, if you know what I mean. It can be any of those types of things. But I think that we're seeing a hint here that she is probably his main go-to when it comes to protecting messaging and kind of like keeping his reputation where he wants it. Right here, I think he's probably sending her to do a lot of work. Now, I'm getting the feeling that this is trips, maybe long journeys, maybe across the ocean. It could be metaphorical too. But there's this repeated action of sending her to do a job. So I don't know if it means he's literally sending her on an airplane somewhere, or if he is continually coming to her for some type of, hey, could you handle this? Hey, can you do this? Hey, can you do that? You know, he's really piling a lot onto her. Now, we've got the ring card here, and usually in a Trump reading, we look at the ring card as Russia or shadowy alliances. It's interesting that if we look at it from the perspective of Russia, or the energy of Russia, I guess I should say, added to what we just saw here, very interesting how it kind of changes the dynamic of this first, her entrance cards. It's also very likely that she is the one who's handling Russian correspondence, and that could be why we got the letter over here in her near cards. Makes perfect sense if you look at it across the line here in her row, kind of like he's sending her, paying her even to handle a job of communicating with Russia and putting an end to maybe Russia getting ahead of him, ahead of his plans, or, just kind of keeping Russia in check. I feel like in this second line, there is a hint with the garden and the tree and Trump and the heart even, really, that she may have a lot of input behind the scenes on how to present him to the public, to make him palatable. I know he's not, but they're definitely doing some smoke and mirrors type stuff because, let's face it, he's not well. And they are having to do something to maintain the appearance of whatever you would call his current state. So I feel like she is maybe a little bit of the brains behind that operation. And then moving forward, we have the heart and the tower. This may allude to something like, with a little bit of luck, she got her wishes, her hopes and dreams of getting a position in government, a new position, a new job. Down here we've got bear, sun, letter, crossroads, book. Let's see, what does this one mean? So with the bear, we are protecting. With the sun, we are illuminating or kind of putting something in the spotlight, revealing it even. The control over this situation, which we kind of covered these 3 cards already, it's in her hands. She's been given the gift of controlling and overseeing the protection of a lot of really important information. Pam Bondi's full of secrets. That's why the book is one of her centerfold. She really, if anybody in the regime knows a lot on Trump, it's her. And then we've got... Yeah, definitely so, because we've got birds and key. So with this, we're kind of seeing like she has the answers, she has the access, she knows the behind the scenes situation, and it creates this nervous energy, this a flutter feeling, being responsible for all of this, all of these things here. The first thing I thought of when I looked at these 3 cards right here is reconnaissance. That's the first word that came to my mind, reconnaissance, because he knows that she's loyal, and so she's delivering messages. She's really tasked with a lot of heavy work, I think, for the Trump administration, more than what she probably signed on for, or probably more than is in her job description. But he's having her do some type of reconnaissance type work and bring information back to him because there's some type of situation that is going on in the administration that is a burden, enemies, blockages, clouds, like confusion and just trouble ahead in general. So he's tasking her with a really important job. I don't know what this job would be. We might try to look into it with some context here. But I think more than what she's actually supposed to be doing, she's handling another problem for Donald Trump himself. Now, this may explain to some degree where this and the 4 corners were coming in, because at the beginning of the reading, and also the fate line, don't forget the fate line, we kind of saw this energy here in the center that, was in reference to like some type of crossroad or choices, or like, do I follow my heart or do I follow orders kind of thing. And I think that that's definitely the case. I think it could be that she is overwhelmed, that she's got too much on her plate, or she's being tasked with things that she didn't anticipate him, piling all this work onto her. So it's like, wow, this is a lot. This is, maybe at some point she's like, oh, I can definitely handle it. And then eventually it got to the point where she's like, I don't know if I want to handle it anymore, because there's a lot of negativity here with the arrangement of the cards, especially when you're looking at like the snake and the mountain, which both enemies, like there's a lot of enemy energy here, which also feeds into why I think that he's tasking her with some type of reconnaissance mission in some shape or form. The spread is really making me want to do some Googling, because I feel like this is revealing information about Bondi that we don't know about. Maybe there's enough out there on the internet, articles and such, to where we could kind of glean some type of information and put it all together for a bigger picture. But I think the tableau is telling us something that we maybe as civilians just don't know about. It's pretty heavy, and I set my intentions as give us the juiciest details on her political future. And this seems pretty juicy because I don't know what this is talking about. I mean, I know what it's talking about, but I don't know specifically what it's talking about. So let's take a look at a couple of clusters. So health clusters, for example. So if we look at the reading, and this may not be accurate to do, I'll just put a disclaimer on here because I set my intentions for a political reading and we're not doing a regular grand tableau. Take this part with a grain of salt. But generally speaking, in a tableau, if you look for clusters, you look for like health clusters. So you find the tree card. Her tree card is pretty close to her, and if you follow the rule of proximity, that's not a good sign for her health. It's interesting too that Donald Trump is also beside, so maybe they're both experiencing some bad health. I mean, we know he is, But as far as I know, there hasn't been any mention of Pam Bondi's health. But there may be something going on with her health that the public isn't aware of yet. So that's just something, a little tidbit that's interesting to point out. Let's take a look at her celestial cluster. So let's see, where is her sun card? Oh yeah, okay, so they're all very close to her, but they are below her, which is not a good sign. And her lily card, part of her Providence cluster, her lily card is below her and very far away, so that's also not a good sign. Now, there's a lot of different rules depending on how you read, but basically we'll just put it this way. If it applies, since this is not a regular grand tableau and it's a political reading, we've got some really bad signs for her as far as integrity, her virtue, the things that she's doing, you know, with honor, I guess you could say, because her lily card is really far below and away. And then her celestial cluster is down here beneath her. Her bouquet, which is, I believe, also part of the Providence cluster, is also very far away from her, which is not a good sign. So one last thing, and I guess we'll wrap up this grand tableau. If you look down here at the bottom at her exit cards, she's got 3 of the worst cards in the deck for her exit cards: the cross, the clouds, and the mountain. So this is her heading into unknown territory, into confusion, into instability, with a lot of heavy burdens, and she's going to face extreme challenges. And this, you know, could also be a card of enemies. So she does not have a great path ahead of her. And because she's all the way back here, she has quite a bit in front of her still to come. So she's going to have an interesting time, I think. But also, I don't think that we are going to see her vanish from politics like we most likely will with Pete Hegseth. And if you haven't seen that video, go check that one out. I have a political futures video for him as well. Some of these people from this administration are going to vanish into oblivion and never be heard from again. People like her are probably not. I think she's going to try to stick around. I think she is going to try to possibly even kind of reinvent herself a little bit at some point in the future, and maybe rebrand as someone who's not a I can't say that word. Okay, never mind. You guys know what I'm talking about. All right, guys, so that is it for Pam Bondi's future in politics. If you have anybody you want me to cover, leave me a comment down below and drop their name. Let me know which ones you're interested in seeing, and I will do a video on those. And if you like this video, hit the thumbs up button. And if you like political divination, consider sticking around. Hit the subscribe button and check out more of my videos. All right, guys, I will see you in the next video.